I just have a few questions asking for clarification, Mr. Nelson, based on the concept document that you gave us at our last meeting. You state that you believe that this merit pay system is needed in order to improve student achievement, and so that's the basis of your interest in it. And as you know, I'm sure, we live in an age of data-driven decision-making and evidence-based practice. So my question to you is this: what specific data or evidence leads you to conclude that investing our limited resources in developing and funding a merit pay system will lead, in fact, to increased student achievement levels?
Well, I've done quite a bit of research on this. I will say that I'm not an educational professional, so my interest in this is purely from a from a community volunteer perspective. So I would go to the internet and I would use search engines to find what pertinent data is out there.
Have you done that, sir?
Yes, I spent hours doing that.
And do you have those studies? Because I have also researched using university databases, and I have not been able to find that data, so I'd be very interested in having a copy of the studies you found.
It's very surprising to me that you would suggest that you've not found any data supporting a merit pay program.
What I'm saying is that there is no link between instituting merit pay and increasing student achievement levels. Texas just got the results of their TEAG program, and it showed no link between the program and increased student achievement levels. In 2007, the Consortium for Policy Research in Education concluded that evidence of a substantial positive impact on either student achievement or teacher performance is lacking. And so what I found is that these studies have not been done showing the link, and that's what I'm interested in.
Well, two remarks. Yours go to this with specificity with regards to what's happening in Texas. And I can't speak to that specifically, but I would say that the success of this workshop will be dependent on data, will be dependent on sharing data and understanding each other's. So perhaps I am remiss for not bringing all of that with me here today. One of the ideas that I thought that we would work through would be to identify data sources that both of us would use in order to make this a success. So I am not prepared at this very moment to cite specific causes that, specific cases that link merit pay and student performance. But I am certain that they're out there.
Well, that's why I asked, because my searches have not turned up any yet. My second question has to do with the criteria that you suggest might be used to determine which teachers qualify for merit pay. And you list such things as standardized test scores, parent evaluations, supervisor evaluations, and voter feedback. Could you explain how you envision voters participating in the evaluation of individual teachers in order to determine if they qualify for merit pay?
Voter feedback. It escapes me at the moment.
Okay, that, as I said, that was under your section of possible criteria to be used.
Now, these are clearly, my perspective on this was not to bring a structure to this workshop that excluded ideas, but for us to create a workshop that was as inclusive as possible. So those were suggestions amongst a wide spectrum of other possibilities that may make this successful. Now, my own perspective is that the exact same criteria implemented in two different states, in two different cities, in two different municipalities, it may work beautifully in one and not in another. what it really comes down to, what my research tells me, is that when all of the parties cooperate in an arena of teamwork, it seems to work.
Also, I think if I can speak here in this discussion on that particular issue, all these big, best-known studies are obviously done in the context of states or huge cities like Denver, which design this program and implement it with many schools, thousands of teachers. But there are some smaller things which work, and sometimes what you said, what does not work well with big scale, it might work just fine in small scale. I'm personally how I got involved in just thinking about K-12 and merit pay, because these two things are unheard of together in the same sentence, to say merit pay and K-12. But anyway, there was a case in Dartmouth where I worked, and there was, I think it was ExxonMobil they have a foundation and were concerned about the pretty low rate of students passing advanced placement tests in STEM subjects. So they funded these grants for different schools, high schools. Specifically, these were for advanced placement courses to encourage teachers through this grant to spend extra time with students, because, like Mr. Rarick said, in our case, pretty much advanced placement course cannot just happen during the class hours. It has to happen beyond class hours. And the grant in Dartmouth, because at that time, I remember this uprising in town, $650,000 or $630,000. No one penny came from the taxpayers. And there were some financial rewards from teachers. If I remember correctly, it was $100 per student who passes level 3 of advanced placement tests. And there were also some financial rewards to students, something minimal. I think it was $100 also per student. Obviously, this grant was embraced by the whole community, but the teachers' union objected to that. And I spoke to the chairperson of school committee at that time in Dartmouth, and I got some context for this. And then I started looking around, and I found out that there was another town in a city in Massachusetts, I think it was Leominster, which also rejected this grant. Not all towns or cities rejected these grants. And then I looked at the data, and this was a while ago, so don't hold me to the numbers, but I have seen reports of very positive results from in the towns which use this grant. And this is something much smaller, because this was one particular high school, one particular group of teachers. So maybe things in small scale are easier to manage. They are more flexible. The rules which you are going to use in terms of how to assess the results, what kind of criteria you are going to use, they might be much more manageable as opposed to something which is imposed on the whole school system in a huge city or in a state. Just think how we think about what state brings to us. It's not negotiated within the community. It's kind of imposed on the community. So immediately everyone has a different type of attitude, and it has to fit all. So now imagine that in our state, someone is going to bring something in, and we are not comparable to Texas by any means. But just imagine in Rhode Island, someone is going to say, okay, you Barrington, and you Central Falls, and you Tiverton, you are part of the same system. You are part of the same merit system. I don't know. It might not work that well because we are very different. And so I would not reject this based on that Texas did not work and Denver has problems and so on and so on. Let's just be open-minded. My idea about this whole workshop was to just brainstorm, not to interrogate each other. Let's just forget that that this is even controversial. Let's just bring all arguments pro and con.